What if I told you they built a railroad through one of the steepest, wildest canyons in Colorado, and then hand-dug a tunnel under it to move water to the desert? Most people have never heard of this place, but it changed the West forever. Today, there's no town, no trains, just a stranded locomotive, a buried tunnel, and a few ghostly foundations. Stick around because this is one of the boldest engineering stories you've ever heard. Colorado called, and not just for the views. Grace is working at Curecanti. James flew in to meet us, and now the whole crew's back together. Let the adventure begin. We begin our journey in Curecanti National Recreation Area on the road to East Portal. It drops off fast, nearly 2,000 feet in just 3 miles. With a 16% grade and switchbacks stacked like ribbons on a cliffside, it's the only place you can actually drive to the bottom of Black Canyon. And on every turn comes with jaw-dropping beauty.
In the early 1900s, western Colorado faced a serious problem. Too much land and not enough water. Farmers in the Uncompahgre Valley were battling drought, with fertile soil that simply couldn't grow without irrigation. Then came a bold idea: to carve a tunnel straight through the Black Canyon of the Gunnison, one of the most rugged and remote places in the state. In 1905, crews began blasting over 5 miles of solid rock. It took 7 long years, countless injuries, and some serious grit. But in 1912, the Gunnison Tunnel opened, one of the first major projects of the brand new U.S. Reclamation Service. And when water finally flowed to the valley, it transformed the region forever. Today, the Gunnison Tunnel is administered by the Bureau of Reclamation. The Gunnison Tunnel was engineered to handle up to 1,100 cubic feet of water per second. That's like 1,100 basketballs passing you per second. But here's the catch. Pushing it that hard creates a vacuum inside the tunnel, and that can do some serious damage. So in practice, they keep it just under 1,000. That's the real maximum. And even that is a staggering amount of water rushing beneath your feet. This modest-looking dam is actually a century-old engineering marvel. The bottom timbers, they're original, installed back in 1909 and still holding strong. But this dam was built with a clever design. It's meant to break. Specific sections were designed to give way in high water so that only the damaged parts could be replaced without rebuilding the whole thing. The upper panels, those are modern plywood and get swapped out as needed. Smart, simple, and still working over 100 years later. East Portal was a full town built just for tunnel workers, complete with housing, a school, a hospital, and even a billiard hall. They made $2.25 a day, more than the mines paid, and powered the work with their own plant. At its peak, 250 people lived here. Now all that's left are the tunnel and a few fading foundations.
So, we're here at Cimarron, which used to be a very bustling town, although it is a little more deserted now. But it has a cool history, and we're gonna get to explore that history here today. So, there is a visitor center here, but it is not open and has not been open for many years. But they do have a really cool train exhibit here, because this town is a railroad town. The Denver and Rio Grande Railway was the railway that went through here. It was a narrow gauge railway. So that means that it was 3 feet wide rather than...
The magpies are having...
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I know. Denver and Rio Grande. You just don't want me to talk. I know. I'm in your spot. Cimarron is a railroad town. It was started for the Denver and Rio Grande Railway, which was a narrow gauge railway. The standard in the U.S. is set by Congress. It's about 4.5 feet wide. But when you get in the mountains of Colorado and you're trying to build these railways on narrow canyons or on cliff sides, it can be a little easier to build a narrower railway. So the Denver Rio Grande Railway was about 3 feet wide, to make it easier and more nimble to navigate through canyons. This railway had multiple purposes. The main reason why it was built was to carry ore from the San Juan Mountains. But it also later in its life converted to move cattle and sheep from their winter homes and their summer homes. And then, because they built a railway in a cool place, they also used it for tourism as well, putting a passenger train on it to help. Just because they had it available, they might as well at that point in time. Here at Cimarron is where the railway exited the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. It never actually makes it into where we now know the national park at. And most of where it was is now under a lake. But there are some bits of it that you can drive on and walk on as well on the Pine Creek Trail, and then here at Cimarron over to the Mason Creek Trail. The main reason why Cimarron was here, though, was less because of the canyon and more because what comes after the canyon is Cerro Summit. It's close to 8,000 feet versus the 6,500-ish feet that we are here. So the trains needed a little bit of help getting up there. So this was our station to add the extra locomotive to help pull these trains up Cerro Summit. One of the things, though, is they had to be able to work on these railways because rock fall is common and damaging of the railway is common. So they would set up little wayside stations with boxcars on the railroad grade. This is one of those boxcars right behind me. This boxcar would have held up to 18 men, along with their beds, closets, some sinks, and there was no bathroom on board, but it had a wood-burning stove as well. This one then was later converted to a foreman's office and home for his family and and for him to be able to work. Over here, one of our standard cattle boxcars. As well as on this side as well.
This was a sheep one.
Sheep one.
Yeah, double-decker sheep.
Double-decker sheep boxcar. Okay.
This is double-decker.
Okay.
These are the actual tracks.
Yeah.
Remnants of the actual track. Let's get out here at the canyon. They have their
cattle and sheep herding and gates and things to get them onto the railway.
So when they use this for cattle and sheep and use these boxcars, these are the actual old structures. Some of it has been rebuilt, but this is where they believe it actually was. These boxcars would come in and collect the sheep and the cattle and take them off the market. And this is cool.
Cimarron is a very cool place. There's also some good bit of cool geology here, cool history. It's very interesting. So. Onward into the canyon, see the locomotive.
Oh my gosh, we had no idea what to expect with this locomotive. and we're totally unexcited about seeing it. But when we pulled up, it was amazing. Mounted on a bridge on the creek. It had to be put on there with a crane. What a cool place. And seeing it here in its natural habitat, you can just imagine how cool it would have been to have been a passenger on this railroad through Black Canyon. Since I'm editing this series on the road, I'm breaking it into 2 parts. There's just too much story to tell in one go. Next week, we're heading upstream to explore the dams, the bighorn sheep, and the massive challenge of keeping the West watered. If you like our videos, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Bye!